content, perfect with no flaws at all, are the laws of Allah. A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad. All praise is due to Allah. We ask Allah to exalt the mention and grant peace and send His blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Welcome to this episode. In the last episode, we discussed innovation. And we said that many times people present particular evidences or events that took place before at the time of the Prophet ﷺ or shortly after to justify inventing into the deen up until today. It kind of opens the door for anyone says, look, the deen is flexible, the deen is easy, and you can get to Allah in many different ways. You choose the way that you like. You can use this way, He can use that way. As long as it is ibadah, it's fine. We said that this is not necessarily the correct approach. Then whenever we say that, the issue comes of Umar radiallahu anhu bringing the people together behind one imam after they were scattered, and then him making a particular remark that is used profusely to prove that this is fine. I would like that we address this issue in a way that this evidence can be understood by every viewer to see whether this is a justifiable statement, does it justify bid'ah, or does it not really do so?
First of all, the hadith that we quoted last time, where the Prophet said, "Man sanna sunnatan hasana, falahu ajruha wa ajru man amila biha, la yanqusu min ujurihim ila yawm al-qiyamah." Whoever leads people, whoever teaches people something that is good in Islam, in religion particularly, he will get the reward of those who follow him until the Day of Judgment without deducting any of their good deeds. And likewise, whoever leads people or teaches people something that is bad, he would have the burden and the sins that they have committed without deducting any of their own sins. You have to understand the origin of this hadith. The hadith is in the Sahih. People, unfortunately, extract what they want without looking at the context. For example, one says, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. So if I'm praying, someone says, woe to those who pray. I'll interrupt my prayer and I'll stop. The guy is quoting a verse from the Quran. Ya akhi, complete it. Allah says, لَا تَقْرَبُوا الصَّلَاةِ. Do not approach prayer. Okay, I'm not going to pray. No, complete the ayah while you are in the case or in the state of intoxication. So this hadith was said when a group of tribesmen from Mudar came with torn clothes and signs of fatigue and hunger appears on them. And Mudar is one of the honorable tribes of Arabia. The Prophet ﷺ's face changed and he went to the pulpit and he encouraged people to donate, to give in charity. And nobody moved until one of the Ansar, one of the companions, went to his house and came with a big sack of food and clothes that barely his hands could carry them. And he placed it in front of the Prophet ﷺ. The minute the people saw this, they immediately went to their houses and brought whatever they can, until a big pile was formed in front of the Prophet ﷺ, and then his face changed and he was happy ﷺ, as if it was the moon on middle of the lunar month. And then he said this hadith. So my question is, did the man who brought the first sack, was he innovating? He was actually following the Quran and the Sunnah. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ said that he taught people something that was in the religion. Now, this is extremely important to understand the context and what the hadith implies, so that you can understand what Umar had said and done. May Allah be pleased with him.
Could we also add the usage of words? He didn't say man ibtada'a fil islami bid'atan. He said man sanna fil islami sunnah.
It's true, but they, the innovators themselves, say that, okay, if I, for example, throw a mawlid and I celebrate the birthday of the Prophet ﷺ, I have done something that is a sunnah, something that is good. And they understand this from this aspect. They think that whatever you innovate as long as it is not evil to them, and evil is quote unquote, this is okay for them. So if you want to go to hadith of Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, look at the origin. At the time of Abu Bakr and at the time of Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, in the very beginning, people during Ramadan used to pray individually or 2 or 3 in the masjid, praying Taraweeh, night prayer. But what is the origin of night prayer? It was the doing of the Prophet himself, alayhi salam.
So it's not bid'ah in that sense.
That is why the Prophet himself prayed 3 nights or 4. And the congregation was praying behind him. The companions every night were gaining momentum and size. So the first night, second night, third night, they used to pray behind the Prophet Taraweeh in the masjid. At the 4th night, the Prophet did not come out. So they started calling him, "O Prophet of Allah, we would like to pray." And the Prophet justified that by saying, "I've seen what you have been doing in the previous days or nights. Had I not feared that Allah Azza wa Jal will mandate Taraweeh upon you, I would have continued. But due to my fear that I would burden some of my ummah,"
Out of his compassion to the
yes,
ummah.
so I refrained from doing that. Now, after his death, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there is no way that Taraweeh prayer would be mandated or imposed, because there is no wahi, there is no revelation. So when Umar, may Allah be pleased with him,
And the religion is complete as
and the religion was complete. So when Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, and he's a guided Khalifa, he's a guided Caliph, when he saw the people scattered praying on their own, he decided to go back to square one, which is reviving the sunnah of the Prophet himself, alayhi salatu wasalam, and he gathered them to pray behind Ubay ibn Ka'b and Tamim al-Dari. So he did this, and he said to that when he saw them praying behind one imam, ni'matul bid'ati tilka, referring to what Sheikh Salim mentioned in the last episode, that the linguistic meaning of that.
It seems that there are many quotations from the Sahaba. I believe you mentioned one in the last episode, and perhaps if we can add some more, where the Sahaba explicitly said and spoke against bid'ah, the one in the deen, of course. I believe it's Ibn Mas'ud who might have said, that the bid'ah, every bid'ah is deviance, even if the people assume it or presume it to be something good.
Some people would justify what you've said, what Umar ibn Khattab said, ni'mat al-bid'ah. If what you're saying, which is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, if you label it as bid'ah, so it would be the best bid'ah because it's the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So I think there's a play with words here for that, because the Umar ibn Khattab did not do any bid'ah here. He just followed what the Prophet ﷺ did. And I think most of the main reason that makes people misunderstand this is how to use this. They take the word without a context, without knowing the linguistic meaning, and they try to interpret it or abuse the meaning of it to the side that they want to support.
We have this group of individuals who are ignorant, or they're not knowledgeable, and therefore they think that what they're doing is pleasing to Allah. However, because it falls under bid'ah, the scholars say their niyyah is valid, they will be rewarded for their niyyah, but the deed itself will be rejected. Yet we have another category of people, perhaps scholars, who push these innovations and who propagate them and who call for them. What is our stance in regards to these individuals? I mean, what are they guided? Are they misguided? Are they to be followed? Are they to be obeyed? Do they hold the same privileges and rights as other scholars? Do they have a special treatment? Perhaps that can be touched upon briefly before we take a break.
Regarding the issue of the Taraweeh that you mentioned, you cannot call it bid'ah, and in the sense that it is something prohibited, because Taraweeh is sunnah, the Prophet ﷺ prayed it. So this leaves no room for anyone to argue. So the only meaning left is the lexical meaning. The only meaning left is the lexical meaning, not the legislative one.
Correct.
So walk behind Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What he did, you do. What he didn't do, you abstained from it. That's why the ulama, they classified the traditions of the Prophet ﷺ, because anyone's statement, words can be accepted or rejected except the Prophet ﷺ, as Imam Malik said. We can
reject what Sayyidina Abu Bakr did if it is not aligned with Kitab and Sunnah, with what Sayyidina Umar did.
While loving and respecting
While
them.
living them, because they are human beings and they have their own ijtihad.
Yes.
Okay? For example, when it comes to tamattu, we know that the Prophet ﷺ recommended the tamattu, but they were not doing the tamattu. Whom should you follow?
Tamattu and Hajj.
In the Hajj. In the Hajj, of course. So you follow the Prophet ﷺ. So the ulama, they classified. So not every statement of a companion is an authority in itself and should be followed. No.
We will take a break and then you will tell us about the classification, inshallah, after the break. Jazakallah khairan, sorry for interrupting. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Life, a way of life.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As promised before the break, you said there's a classification that was made, which is necessary in order to remove the doubt. Can you please shed some light on these classifications?
Yes, inshallah. So the ulama, they classified the sunnah, or categorized the sunnah to 4 categories. Sunnah qawliya, which means the oral sunnah, the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ.
Verbal.
The verbal. Sunnah fi'liya, the actions of the Prophet ﷺ. Sunnah taqreeriya, the approvals or the sanctions of the Prophet ﷺ. And there's a 4th one, which many people are not aware of. Sunnah tarkiya. Sunnah tarkiya, which means the things that the Prophet ﷺ did not do in spite of the need. In spite of the need. The need is there, and yet he didn't do it. For example, he made adhan. We know the adhan for the salah.
Yes.
Okay, to call for prayers. But he made some prayers without adhan. Eclipse prayer, whether it is solar or lunar. Eid prayer, whether no adhan.
Prayer.
So if someone comes now and say, we will make adhan for the lunar or solar eclipse prayer or for the Eid prayer, we tell him this is bid'ah, innovation.
There was a need for it, he didn't do
The
it.
Prophet ﷺ didn't do it.
Subhanallah.
So it is a bid'ah. In spite of the need, revelation was coming down, didn't do that. That's why.
So do we understand that something could be A ibadah, and B, good niyyah, yet with the good niyyah and the act being endorsed originally by Islam, still doing it in a particular time or a particular place may still categorize it as innovation?
If this sunnah, this act, that's why. If the Prophet ﷺ didn't do it in spite of the need was there, necessity was there, and yet he didn't do it, it is bid'ah to do.
No.
Did the Prophet ﷺ do it or didn't he? If he did, where? Because some will say, it is good, akhi. This is khair, this is good. Brother, what makes it good? Number 1. Number 2, does this good, or did this good, was the Prophet ﷺ know it or didn't he? He did. Second question, did he teach it to his companions or didn't he? He did. Where? Show me, please. He didn't. How did it reach you then? Who taught it to you? Something the Prophet didn't teach to anyone. It is good. And you are saying that we have to do it when the Prophet ﷺ didn't do it. So, in order for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept your amal, the ulama, they say there are 3 conditions should be fulfilled. Number 1, tawheed, which means worshipping Allah alone without associating any part. No shirk. Number 2, sincerity. Number 3, mutaba'ah, which means total compliance with Kitab and Sunnah.
Is there an evidence for that?
For everyone there is evidence.
Is there one comprehensive?
Okay? Because the deen, from the beginning we mentioned, this deen, as Allah said, وَمَا آتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ إِسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him the example to follow. He warned us in many places. فَلْيَحْذَرَ الَّذِينَ يُخَالِفُونَ عَنْ أَمْرِهِ أَنْ تُصِيبْهُمْ فِتْنَةٌ وَيُصِيبْهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. Let those who might deviate from his path or his way, lest catastrophe or calamity befalls them. So the deen is to follow the footsteps of the Prophet ﷺ. So if any of the conditions are not fulfilled, then Allah will not accept. Yes, you worshipped Allah, but not the way He wanted.
Maybe the last ayah in Surah Al-Kahf, يعني فمن كان يرجو لقاء ربه فليعمل عملا صالحا ولا يشرك بعبادة ربه أحدا. So whoever wishes to meet Allah Azza wa Jal and to be on the stage, yes, he should worship Allah Azza wa Jal. فليعمل عملا صالحا. He should offer good deeds, and a deed is not good unless it is in compliance with the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, because so many people are doing so many deeds, but they're not good. And you always find in the Quran, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, those who believe and offer or do righteous deeds. So a deed is not accepted and good unless it is on the path of the Prophet ﷺ. وَلَا يُشْرِكْ بِعِبَادَةِ رَبِّهِ أَحَدًا, and he should not associate any other with Allah. Fudayl ibn Iyad, when he was interpreting the verse of Allah Azza wa Jal, لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا, and this translates to Allah Azza wa Jal is testing you to see who is among you is the best in deeds. Fudayl ibn Iyad said, do you know what the best in deeds is? Allah Azza wa Jal does not accept a deed unless it is sincere for His sake and it is accordance to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ.
Now, you know, the deen, our deen, if you one who goes through the Quran and the Sunnah, we see the elements of targheeb and tarheeb. Targheeb, you know, encouragement to do good, to follow the Sunnah. And yet we have ayat which do tarheebs, like a form of frightening or scaring the people against going against the Sunnah. And one of these ayat, which I hope we can address quickly, which falls under tarheeb, is وَمَن يُشَاقِقِ الرَّسُولِ مِن بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ الْهُدَى وَيَتَّبِعْ غَيْرَ سَبِيلِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ نُوَلِّهِ مَا تَوَلَّى وَنُصْلِهِ جَهَنَّمَ وَسَاءَتْ مَصِيرًا. Whosoever opposes and contradicts the messenger after the guidance has become clear, follows a path other than that of the believers. The Sahaba at that time, Allah said, we will allow him to travel on that path, and we will cast him into the hellfire, and what an evil abode. An ayah which the least we can say is frightening, because going against the messenger entails total loss. I mean, every believer is a Muslim because he wants to enter paradise and be protected from the fire. So if going against the Sunnah, if contradicting the messenger is going to defeat that very purpose, so taking the matter of bid'ah lightly becomes a very serious problem. And it does seem that in the Ummah today there's a lot of laxity regarding this issue. So words of wisdom, or what advice can we give to the Muslims in regards to the gravity of the situation, so that we can avoid bid'ah, you know, totally?
I believe that those who are watching are not actually analyzing themselves or scrutinizing themselves. So and a lot of the Muslims would say, oh, it's nice, what you're saying is beautiful, it's not addressing us. Though they might be indulged in up to their necks or up to their ears in bid'ah. And this is what astonishes me. Why do people do bid'ah? Is it logical if I talk to any layman and I say, Akhi, do you love bid'ah? Do you love to go against the Prophet ﷺ? What would he say?
No.
Okay, why are you doing it then? So the issue, as the Sheikh said earlier, it's a problem of knowledge.
Misconception maybe.
And the blind following of those who are deviant, who live on doing this and controlling people, because usually those leaders of deviant sects and groups have the control over their followers, over their flock.
Sheep.
Yes, so they don't want them to go out and liberate themselves, because Islam is a religion of liberty. You have no one between you and Allah Azza wa Jal. So I believe that this is also something to be elaborated on maybe later on.
I think one of the reasons, also an inner reason, it's the issue of love or whimsical love, that you love somebody to the degree that everything that he does, you do, forgetting what Islam taught us. We love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more than anyone else. And then we love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than we love our parents, more than we love our ulamas, more than we love our kids, more than we love our spouses. So this love, when it is translated, that means that everything that the Prophet ﷺ, everything that he did, I will do because of my love to him. That's why loving the Prophet ﷺ should be translated into action. And we need to teach this to our kids when they are young. my kid, you love the Prophet ﷺ more than me. If you know that the Prophet ﷺ did something and I do something else, you have to follow the Prophet ﷺ. Don't follow me. This is a good way of raising your kids to follow the Sunnah.
Wouldn't it be fair to say that whenever a person is ignorant of the Sunnah, he's more knowledgeable of the Bid'ah, in the sense that whenever you revive, or actually whenever you abandon a Sunnah, you're reviving a Bid'ah?
Isn't it the statement of one of the righteous predecessors that whoever supports an innovator, he has actually helped in the destruction of Islam? Well, I mean, the قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ. I mean, if we're going to acquire Allah's love by simply following the Prophet ﷺ, then that should be the biggest gift. But it seems that it's not really, perhaps shortcomings on part of the, us, the people involved in da'wah, that these ideas are not really
This is a scary
presented.
ayah.
Yes.
This is a frightening ayah.
This is touchstone.
Then this means that if I'd like to test my love, if I'd like to prove my love to Allah Azza wa Jal, this has to be manifested in my actions.
Yeah, but I think it's not scary, Sheikh. I see it from the other way. If you do this, Allah will love you. What else do you want? So it's something really encouraging.
Yeah, what he meant, I mean, scary in the sense that the love of the Prophet ﷺ is conditional. It's not a claim. We all know that he used to go to Maria and to drink honey. Aisha and Hafsa didn't have honey. They didn't have honey. So they wanted to stop him. So they agreed among themselves that whenever the Prophet comes to you, say, oh, foul smell from you. And they did. And the Prophet ﷺ said, no, it's only honey. I'm not going to take it again. So much so that Allah revealed, Ya ayyuhan nabi, lima tuharrim ma halallahu tabtaghi mardata azwaj. You forbid yourself from something halal, seeking by that the pleasure of your
Wives.
wives. So our beloved one is Allah. Our beloved one is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So whatever Allah tells you pleases him, ask yourself, is this deed pleasing Allah? It might seem, yes, it is pleasing Allah. If it is pleasing Allah, the Prophet ﷺ would not have missed it.
So he either have said it, if it's from the Sunnah, either the Prophet ﷺ said something about it, or he did it himself, or he approved it.
You saw companions doing it
And he kept
approved
quiet.
it. Or the fourth one which you
The
mentioned,
need was there,
but he didn't do it. Like for example, the tendency to raise the hands and make dua after every obligatory salah in congregation. We know that we don't have an evidence, for example, that the Prophet ﷺ ever led them in a congregational dua after the obligatory salah. So we can safely say, leaving that is the sunnah, because the Prophet ﷺ could have done so, there was a need for it, yet he didn't do it.
Yeah, this needs to be elaborated upon, because
I have good news for you.
they,
There will be a future episode, inshallah, where we will have the time to elaborate on this, because the time for today has ended. So Jazakumullah khair for your valuable input, and Jazakumullah khair for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next episode, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
A way of life, a way of life.